Aha! I made it work.
Oh, hey.
How are you?
Good, thanks. How you doing?
Not bad.
Right, okay. So, how I thought this would go basically is I'll just have like a general chat, kind of ask
Yep.
where you're at with learning Dutch and stuff around that.
Yep. Sounds
Make
good.
some notes. I'll just write them down on a document notepad, and I can send that to
Yeah.
you afterwards. So you've got all the notes.
Yep.
And then yeah, when we sort of figure out whereabouts you're at, I can just explain a couple of things about what the whole process looks like and
Yeah.
what I would recommend for you to kind of do at whatever stage you're at.
Yeah.
Because it sort of, I think, depends. Like, if you're a beginner, you need to focus more on this stuff. If you're intermediate, you need
Yeah.
to focus more on this stuff in terms of what your week looks like.
Yeah.
And then kind of put that together into like sort of a rough kind of weekly program.
Yeah.
I think the way I described this to the couple of people that I mentioned to what I wanted to do is less like a language teacher explicitly teaching you this is what these words in Dutch and this is Dutch grammar, blah
Yeah.
blah blah. Because I've done that for 10 years and I don't actually think it's very valuable. And more like a personal trainer. Like,
Yeah.
this is what the process looks like. This is your goal. This is what you need to do to get to this goal, kind of thing.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Cool. Okay. Right. Anyway, so you are trying to move to the Netherlands. You're back
Well,
and
yeah.
forth. You're in
So
England right now.
my boyfriend's Dutch. He lives over there,
Uh huh.
but you have to be 21 to move there. So I still got like a whole year and a half to
Okay.
like master and be able to like just I want to be confident enough that I can go out on my own and go to shops and go to restaurants and do that on my own without like feeling I need somebody there 24/7 with me.
Yeah, perfect. Exactly. Okay. And is that just out of curiosity, that not necessarily pertinent to learning Dutch, but you have to be 21 to get like a residence permit, like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
visa,
yeah. Because it's like a relationship permit as such, and
partner
because
visa.
I didn't go to college or nothing. So if I did that, then I could have gone to uni there. But because I didn't do that, I have to kind of just wait until I'm 21. So that's kind of the situation.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, my sister's got a partner visa for her partner's from Canada, and they're living in the
Yeah, yeah,
UK
yeah.
right now, and that was a hassle. Right. So you try to
Oh,
apply for a partnership visa, and then presumably that lasts 2 years or three
up to
years, and
like
then
yeah, and then you do have to do a language test as well.
you do. Yeah.
It's not that hard apparently. Like I spoke to a few people, apparently it's not that bad.
No,
So
okay.
we'll
Well, so
see.
I can explain that part to you actually, because I've got a friend who's in Amsterdam, and he had
Yeah.
a ancestry visa, so that lasted
Okay.
5 years. But at the end of it,
Yeah.
he has to do the Dutch citizenship test if he wants to stay, and part of that is the language test, which
Yeah.
has to be a certain level. So I can explain that to you now. I want to share my screen. Let's see if this works. Share entire screen. Okay, can you see
Yep, I
that?
can see it.
Cool. So you're looking at my computer. It's just like a Word document. I'll send it to you afterwards. Okay, so have you heard of the CEFR before?
Yep.
You've heard of this? Cool. So my friend who was going to do the Dutch citizenship test soon, he said you need to get a B2.
Okay.
So it's basically it's 3 levels, but they split it into 6 levels.
Yeah.
Do you how much do you know about this already?
Well, not much. I just like I think I if I was to put myself on here, then I would probably say like A2
Yeah.
if I was to put myself on there. But my biggest problem is I've got quite a good like photographical memory, and if you put Dutch words in front of me, I probably could tell you them. But if you said to me, okay, just talk to me and tell me sentences and stuff like that, forget it. I can't do it.
Yeah. That's quite common for people who have started off with like kind of traditional classes or
Yeah.
Duolingo or something like that. They kind of
Yeah.
get to level about A2,
Yeah.
which is the top end of the beginner section, and then so when you get to B1, the kind of lower intermediate section, that's when you are actually able to have conversations with people. So
Yeah.
that's super common. A lot of people get stuck at that kind of hump, going from okay, I can understand quite a bit of Dutch. I've learned a lot of words. I've maybe done some grammar or some classes, but how do I put that together into I can actually have conversations with people now, and I can actually talk to
Yeah.
people. So developing those actual speaking skills and listening skills, which come first. So if you down the track, if you end up wanting to get Dutch residency and do that test, apparently you have to have a B2,
Okay.
which is the high end of intermediate.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more background. The reason this exists is essentially in Europe and now in the world, people don't really put much stock in academic language classes anymore. I don't know
Yeah.
if did you maybe in high school do like high school French, like GCSE French or
German.
something? You did German? Yeah, okay. So,
Yeah.
like even the people who were really good in your class, 'cause I used to be a high school I was a high school French and Spanish teacher.
Yeah.
Briefly. You'll know, like, even the people who are actually really good in your class, like maybe they got an A in GCSE, you know, French or German or something, or even in their A levels, they can't actually speak it for crap. Because it's not practical. Like what you're studying for your high school exams, and there are different exam tactics, like that's not necessarily a good indicator of if you can speak that language. So that's where the CEFR came in, basically. It's been around for a little while, and it's much more of a practical exam. You can do online tests, but they basically only test your like reading and writing, or maybe listening as well a little bit. But to actually get the certificate proving what level you have to sit kind of one-on-one like this with for you to be a Dutch teacher who's certified, and have a conversation and talk about different topics and demonstrate that you can actually talk in the language. So it's a lot more like passing your driving test. Like you have to actually be able to drive the car, kind of thing. So, you know, if you are applying for a job in the Netherlands and you said, I mean, this doesn't really exist, but if you said, in my high school Dutch exam, I got like a B plus on my A levels, they don't care. They do not care. That means nothing to them these days. Every company, every university admissions everywhere in Europe, they only ask for the CEFR, because that is a much better representation if you can actually speak the language, you know? It's much more practical. But yeah, so B2 for Dutch residency apparently, and I would say most workplaces would want you to have C1. So the kind of the lower end of the advanced scale. So that's getting up to, if you were to sit a CEFR test in English, you of course would be like a high C2.
Yeah.
If you lived in the Netherlands for 2-3 years, you probably would expect you to be around kind of B2 C1 at least. Anyway, but so you're here. And you want to get to here, which is where you can have a conversation. So let's have a look at this. I made this a little while ago. It's just my kind of explanation of the different levels. So the first thing I want to look at is this section here, passive vocabulary and active vocabulary. So passive vocabulary, it's how much you can understand in the language.
Yeah.
And active vocabulary is how much you can say, basically.
Okay.
In children, it's usually about 3-1. So in children, in their native language, so when Dutch kids are in the Netherlands and they're learning Dutch, they usually can understand about 3 times as much language from their parents and stuff as they are able to express.
Yeah.
And as an adult learner, it's pretty similar. It's maybe 2-1. It depends what kind of area, what you've been doing personally and what you've kind of been working on. But you would generally expect you to be able to understand like 2 to 3 times as much as you're able to say.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 4 skills in language learning are listening, speaking, reading, and writing.
Yeah.
At these levels, at the beginner levels, we put a very, very heavy focus on listening.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the same as when you were learning your first language. When you learned how to speak English, you just were immersed in English all the time, right? For 8 hours a day, you're listening to people, your parents saying words to you. And through that, you gradually learn a few words, and then you stick those together and you gradually learn sentences, and that progresses into the next skill, which is speaking.
Yeah.
And then after that, we start to work on reading. And then after that, we start to work on writing. Somewhere where a lot of people fall down in A1 and A2, and it's not their fault. And this happens a lot in traditional classes. As I say, I used to be a high school teacher, so I had to do this for a job, even though I didn't agree with it.
I would never be a high school teacher. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No, I'm glad I'm not doing it anymore. But they try and teach kind of all 4 skills from day one, which makes no sense. And no language expert actually agrees with this. I don't know why it's still happening in schools and in mainstream, even adult classes. But they try and get you to do reading and writing and study grammar at the beginner levels. And it makes absolutely no sense to do that. Put it this way, when you were a baby, when you were a toddler and you were learning English, you just did loads of listening and then you did loads of speaking. And through that, you gained kind of an instinctive understanding of the language. And then what age were you when you started reading and writing?
5 or 6.
5 or 6. And by that point, you could already practically fluently speak the language.
Yeah.
And what age were you when you started studying grammar? Probably,
I don't know, maybe like 7.
Yeah, 6-7 years old. So by that point, you can already speak fluently and you can already read and write pretty well.
Yeah.
And then you start to learn the grammar, like the nuts and bolts of your language. It's completely backwards, kind of what we do in schools. So you've done a bit of Duolingo, which is you've picked up probably, some basic vocabulary. Did you say you were writing to ChatGPT to practice?
Yeah, that's my best friend. I love ChatGPT. I just have conversations with him or her. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And
Yeah.
what I try to do is whatever the words I know which are Dutch, I will just write in Dutch, and then if I don't know the word, then I just will write the English word. And even like with that is it's so good because it always knows what I'm trying to say. And I kind of do that with my boyfriend as well. If I know the Dutch word, I'll use it and I'll just put English and Dutch together.
Yeah, cool. So you've already started trying to speak to him, trying to, if you can say it in Dutch, you're trying to say that, and then you mix in a bit of English, and
yeah.
So you're jumping into conversations. That's fantastic. That's awesome. I was wondering actually if you had started or if you only spoke to in English, because a lot of people recommend just jumping in the deep end and having conversations.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a partner who speaks that language, like
yeah.
may as well make use of that unlimited resource. But obviously a lot of people are reticent to jump straight into conversations because they're shy or not confident or whatever. So
definitely, like with him it's okay, but if it was someone else, I won't even try. Like even with his friends, like he knows what I'm saying, but like I think because he knows how I speak and my accent, he understands that. Other people are like, what are you saying?
Yeah, well, that's funny. Well, that's so there's a term for this kind of person in your life. They call it a language mother.
Okay.
Because I mean, it's exactly like a mother understands. Their toddler comes up and is babbling, going blah blah, mom, I want this, and like the mom understands exactly what they're trying to say, and no one else can understand that.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what you get used to. So that's cool, awesome. So you've done a little bit of like Duolingo's like kind of basic vocabulary that will get you started. Duolingo cannot get you past A2.
Yeah.
There are people on YouTube who have done Duolingo like every day for 2 years, and it caps out basically at the top end of A2, low end of B1. It's for learning vocabulary. It doesn't actually develop kind of your skills, your speaking skills enough to be able to have conversations with people past a certain point. So you've learned some basic vocab. That's cool. You started talking, writing with ChatGPT. Normally, I would say it's not great to do so much kind of writing and reading so early before you've kind of done a lot of like speaking and listening. But you're speaking and listening with your partner, and you're spending a lot of time in the Netherlands, so you have actually had a lot of exposure to the language already, what we might call passive listening. So that's awesome. So you've got a really solid base. You basically, from this point, to get from A2 to B1, you need to, I would say, definitely do more dedicated listening activities. So I think that's probably what we'll spend most of the rest of the session on today. I'll show you how to do that. And expanding your vocabulary range so you can understand a lot more words. So we'll go through this, but as you absorb and kind of memorize more words, like I said at the start, like you generally understand 2 to 3 times as much as you're able to say. So as you push forward in terms of your listening comprehension ability and being able to understand more and more Dutch, eventually you'll across a threshold where it will translate into speaking. If you're watching TV shows and stuff like that, if you hear and understand a word in context, several times. I've heard different figures quoted here. Some people say you need to see a word in the wild 15 times before you're able to use it. I don't know that's necessarily true. It could be 2 or 3 or 10. It doesn't really matter. But the more you absorb these new words and expand your vocabulary through listening, eventually that will cross over into speaking. Once if you've seen a word 10 times in different TV shows or read it in a book or talked to ChatGPT, then eventually that'll strengthen those memories enough that you're able to reproduce it. So listening comprehension certainly it would be like the main focus right now.
Okay.
And you can, in terms of actual like developing speaking like conversational skills to be able to talk to people, probably given where you're at now, if you're like a kind of an A2 but haven't done too much listening and speaking, you're probably not very far away. You're probably only about a month away from being able to have conversations, like quite comfortably have conversations with people. So I'd say probably, let's put a little note here. I'm just going to recommend probably about 1 month heavy focus on listening comprehension and expanding. I'm going to put oral vocabulary because there might also be a lot of words that you can understand them when you see them in front of you, but you can't understand them when you hear them.
Yeah.
Because it's 2 completely separate skills. But it's related. The fact that you can already read and understand them will make it faster and easier to listen and understand them. But we do need you to be able to listen and understand them. So, but specifically there, expanding oral vocabulary up to, how many words do you need to get to? So if you look at this, passive vocabulary for B1 intermediate, it's about 2,500 words. So that's, you've probably, it seems like a lot, but it's honestly not that much. And you're probably halfway there already, honestly.
I think I probably know words and I don't even realize I know them.
Yeah,
essentially.
Absolutely. And there's all different stages of between, but well, let me show you another picture. This is a bit of a segue, but so have you seen pictures like this before?
Yeah.
So this is basically what the inside of the thinking part of our brain looks like. We've got neurons, little like electrical, transmitters, and they create connections between each other. And those connections, those pathways are our memories. They're how we remember and understand things.
Okay.
So say you learn a word like Stuhl, which means a seat.
Yep.
So you make a little pathway, but look at one of these thin ones. It would be a thin one to start off with.
Yeah.
And then if you're watching a TV show and you see the word Stuhl again, you remember it, and you remember it from the first time that you remembered it. That little string will get slightly thicker.
Yeah.
It'll be easier to push, electrons down through it. So it'll get thicker and thicker. And once it gets to a certain point, it just becomes very easy to understand it, almost kind of automatic. And then you keep widening it. So that's when there's all this progression up to the threshold of being able to understand it when you're hearing it. And then it keeps going. Once it gets thicker and thicker, eventually the memory is strong enough that you can use it. And it keeps going further after that to the point that it becomes, the more words, like once these pathways become very strong and all of these words and phrases become automated, so you don't have to think about them, and that's when you really can have conversations with people and just it flows out naturally without you having to think about it. So that's the basic process. Let's jump into an activity, I think, where we're going to say vocabulary up to 2,500 words in your passive vocabulary. And we're not worrying too much right now about active vocabulary. We'll do, next time I check in with you, we'll do more like actual speaking activities.
Okay, yeah.
Cool. So you'll need to do this on your screen. I've got, quite annoyingly, I was talking to ChatGPT myself yesterday, looking up if we could use Netflix or Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Zoom and Microsoft Teams and all of these things have it's Netflix and Disney Plus have sharing software.
Yeah.
So if you try to do it on a Zoom call, the screen goes black and you can't watch anything. Disney and Netflix don't want you reproducing anything. So unfortunately, the only resources we can use today are on YouTube. But whatever we practice today, you just go and find whatever Netflix series or whatever Disney Plus series that you want to use, and you use that. Animated ones are really cool. Anything we watched before, which is kind of nostalgic. If you want to rewatch Pokemon or your favorite anime or something, if you can find it in Dutch. I rewatched all of Spider-Man in Dutch. That was good.
How long did you think it took you to learn Dutch?
Dutch, it took me 14 months to get to C1.
Oh my gosh.
But
this is bad. I've been with Patrick for 2 years now.
Well, to be fair, caveat, it was my fifth language at the time.
Yeah.
I'd already been working for several years as a language teacher, and I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
And the big caveat, it was during COVID, and I was unemployed at my parents' house.
Yeah. So you had time.
I had time. Yeah, it was my kind of COVID project, was teach myself Dutch and then start making YouTube videos. So I learned it very fast. That was the one language I did kind of a speed run. I think it's very, very uncommon that you would get to C1 in a year and 2 months. That's a very specific set of circumstances led to that happening. Usually it would take at least 2 years.
Yeah.
You're at A2 now. It's going to probably take you about a month to get to where you can have quite a comfortable kind of basic conversation, and then another 2 or 3 months before you've kind of consolidated that B1 level, like a solid B1 level, and then to get to B2. Each level has more vocabulary, as you can kind of
I think it's how much time you put in, isn't it? If you really want to do something, you have to allow the time for it, and that's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. But you also have to know what you're doing, and you also have to, I think, have a kind of a goal or a vision of where you're heading. It's quite difficult to pour hours and hours of effort into something when you don't really know if it's going anywhere.
Yeah.
Which can happen with language learning, because it's just it's a marathon. It's a very long distance sort of thing. So if you don't I think it's good to be aware of these levels and what kind of you should be able to get to with each level, because it just it frames what you're doing. Otherwise you're spending months and months, trying to... Okay, anyway, shall we just get on with a listening activity, I think. So I need you... Oh, that's what I was going to talk about, sorry. So I've got 3 YouTube videos here at different levels.
Okay.
The first one is probably A1 level. You might find it quite easy. It's it's an animated children's story.
Okay.
So it's very concrete. Everything you see is what's happening. The man in the pit, the moon and the hat. So everything, it's very visual, everything you can see. That slightly harder one is I've got Peppa Pig. That's probably A2 level. It's pretty easy too. And then I've got a hard one. This is Lubach. It's like a news comedy show. We can have a go at
Okay.
that. I think let's start with this one. Okay, can you open that link and then in one tab, and can you also in another tab open Google Translate and say it from Dutch to English? Yeah, so basically just, you might find this quite easy, and we can try it with one of the other resources too, but start watching it.
You have high hopes for me. I don't have high hopes.
So start watching this kids animated story. When you get to a word that you don't know, just press pause and look it up in Google Translate.
Okay.
De man en de pet door Nomi. Allemaal naar de dorpsmarkt.
Pause.
Papa kocht.
Please.
We just have them up here.
Yes,
we need to change this off.
Please remove the English subtitles. Yeah, awesome. Cool. So we just want subtitles off. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let me
So
go
it
back
should
here.
be just the Dutch, which is in the video. Yeah.
Allemaal naar de dorpsmarkt.
Right. So if I don't know a word, I have to translate this, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So I will just translate Dorpsmarkt.
Dorpsmarkt.
Okay. I'm gonna try and remember this. How you spelled it? I don't even know if that's how you spell it. O-D-O-R-E-S.
Dorpsmarkt.
Like this, maybe?
Cool.
Oh, here.
So it means village market. Yeah. So you can probably work out dorp means village and markt means market.
Yeah.
Press the little speaker button underneath Dorpsmarkt. Yeah.
Dorpsmarkt.
Cool. Repeat.
Dorpsmarkt.
Dorpsmarkt. Yeah, cool. So that's called shadowing. It's basically just all the way through everything you're doing. You want to try and be learning to speak at the same time you're learning to listen. I'll put a note about that.
Die zette mijn pet op. De maan glimlachte blij.
Glimlachte.
Glimlachte. Good pronunciation.
I perfected my G's so much.
Glimlachte.
Glimlachte. Lach. Oh, smile. Lach is like laugh, isn't it? Lacht. Laugh. Okay. That's a good thing that I find with Dutch is like it does have similar, like at least the words start with similar words to English, you know, like whereas some languages are so completely different.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Whereas Dutch, the starting of them is almost quite similar.
Yeah, so those are called cognates. It's when the word is the same or has the same root in different languages.
Yeah.
Yeah, like stoel, or yeah, there are loads and loads of similar words. But Dutch and English both come from Proto-Germanic. Proto-Germanic became German, Dutch, and English.
Okay.
So they're cousins.
Okay.
Blij en gelukkig. Ik moest ook glimlachen.
So pause.
Die volgende
What did that mean? Ik moest ook glimlachen.
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay, go back.
Die volgende.
They go too fast. I can't pause this on all these things. Pause.
Press play.
Glimlachte blij en gelukkig. Ik moest ook glimlachen.
Pause.
Am I pausing this here?
Ik moest ook glimlachen. What does that mean?
I also, what is that? Oh, I don't know, most.
I must.
I must also, oh my god, I just did that word.
Yeah.
I must also smile.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, smile. Yeah,
Right.
lachen is laugh and glimlachen is smile. Perfect, cool.
Okay.
Can you leave that there? Can you go back to the Zoom window? So you can see I've got Google document open with all the notes. Can you see that?
Yep.
So I've just written that note here. Shadowing is repeating new words as you learn them. Cool.
Yep.
And then I'm just putting down here the steps for the listening comprehension. So the first one is what we just did. Work through a listening resource. It could be Netflix, Disney Plus, or a children's story, whatever you want. Pausing and looking up any words that you don't know. Okay, the second part, which we just got to, is you need to periodically, after 1 or 2 or 3 sentences, up to you. You'll kind of figure it out, what works for you as you go along. Pause, go back and test yourself. So that's what I just did with you there. You kind of scrolled or watched through it and you're sort of saying, you know, I'm watching it and I understand the story, so I understand what's going on. But then when I asked you, can you translate, what was it? Ik moest glimlachen.
Yeah.
And then you were unable to do that straight away. So that's why testing yourself is so important. So there are 2 ways that you're going to test yourself as you do this. So 2 tests that you're going to do throughout. The first one is translate from Dutch to English. That's the one that we just did. So if you read or listen to a sentence, if you're able to stop and say, what does that mean in English? And I put in brackets individual words and whole phrases or sentences, because quite often we sort of I don't know. I think people in general, and I'm no exception, even after learning 7 languages and having done this for so many years, and people just are quite delusional about how much they actually understand. And because we pick up contextual clues, like you're watching a children's story and you can kind of see what's going on, or sometimes you might be talking to your boyfriend and you can understand what's going on and what he's saying, but then if I stop and ask you, what does that word mean? All of a sudden it's like
it's more like you just know a few words, so you think you understand the whole thing, but
exactly, and you kind of piece it together. So that's fine in a situation where you have contextual clues, like you have the story pictures, or you're in a situation where things are easily explained and you can kind of figure it out. But as you move up through the levels, you need to be able to understand these words without any pictures, without any situation or context to explain them to you. The hardest resource that you're going to use, we're starting now with a children's story, but you can do the same thing all the way through, and the hardest thing that you'll use will be a podcast or an audiobook, because you're just listening and you've got no pictures and you've got no situation of what's going on, and you have to just know what the words mean. So at this level, like, you can kind of figure out what's going on and you can kind of say like, yeah, I understand this, but you need to test yourself to check that you really remember what the words mean. So that's the individual words, like glimlachen. You have to be able to say glimlachen means smile. Moest, you have to be able to remember and say ik moest means I must. And you have to then also be able to understand the whole sentence. The kind of general idea. So that's the first one. The first way you'll test yourself here, translate from Dutch to English. So again, the same as shadowing, you'll be doing that all the time, the whole way through. Every sentence, 2 sentences, pause. What did that mean? What does that word mean? Pause, rewind, watch it again, test. Always test yourself. And the second way you'll test it is repeating the audio in Dutch. Well, it's essentially the same as shadowing, but it's like if you hear, and on this one we've got subtitles, but if you test yourself by taking the subtitles off at some point, we will get to that. If you can repeat the audio that they said in Dutch, it means you can understand the pronunciation and how to say it, I guess, is the easiest way to explain that. But so that's absolutely key. You have to be doing that all the way through. So please go back to the start of the story and watch again. I want you to pause after every sentence and translate it for me and repeat it in Dutch.
Oh my gosh.
De man in de pet.
Pause. So say it. Repeat it in Dutch.
The man and the pet.
Great pronunciation. And what does it mean? Translate it.
The moon and the cat.
Perfect. Continue. That was an easy one.
Doornoni.
Doornoni?
It's door. Oh my gosh, I know this. 4? Is it 4?
It can mean 4. These prepositions, these little words that mean for or by or through, whatever, they're funny because they depend on the situation. It does mean for, but in this situation it means by Noni. Noni's the author.
See, this is another thing. Why is there so many words that mean so many different...
Yeah, that's the confusing part about any language, but it's the same in English. We've got, so our equivalent would be, say, I don't know, say on. On is a funny one. I was on a volleyball trip and we were camping, and this girl, I think she was Lithuanian, she said, can you put my sunscreen on my tent? So I put it like on top of the tent. She's like, haha, but like in the tent, because in her language, she would have said on the tent. But like in our language, we say on the bus. You're not on the bus, you're in the bus. So why do we say... It makes... Honestly, in English and in every language, these words make absolutely no sense. You kind of just have to... So it means for, but it also means by sometimes. In this situation, it's like when you're talking about an author, like someone's written something, you say by J.K. Rowling or whatever. Okay. Door J.K. Rowling, who would be.
Yeah. Cool. All right, let's continue.
Okay, repeat in Dutch.
Oh my god. We gingen allemaal.
Good. We gingen allemaal. Yeah. If you're unsure, then just go back, watch it, listen again, and repeat. In fact, let's do that now. Do this sentence again, please, in Dutch.
Should I replay here?
Mm-hmm. A little bit further back. Yeah, good.
We gingen allemaal.
We gingen allemaal, or we gingen allemaal. Yeah. Sometimes they swallow the last N at the end of those words. So the way if your boyfriend read this, he probably would say we gingen allemaal, because it's like a children's story and they're trying to pronounce it correctly. I think they said more like we gingen allemaal. Either is fine. So that was really good pronunciation. And now translate it.
Is it we all went?
Correct. Yeah, we all went. Which word means all?
allemaal.
Allemaal.
That's the only way that I knew what it meant, because I don't think I know what gingen meant. I don't think. I just know we, and then like all is alle.
Perfect.
Like,
Yes. So we gingen means
we go.
we.
Or we went.
You're very close. But yeah, we went. Yeah. But go to Google Translate.
Yeah.
Yep. Can you click click X if you want. Can you click the little microphone button on the bottom left of that box? Yep. And can you say we gingen into that?
We gingen. Oh, allow.
Try again.
Yeah. We gingen.
Press stop. Perfect. Press the listening button again, the speaker button.
We gingen.
Repeat it one more time.
We gingen.
Awesome. Perfect. Good. So most of the time when I'm at home, I will actually just use that microphone button instead of typing.
Okay.
Because like if you've read it as a subtitle and then if you have to say it good enough that Google Translate understands you.
Yeah.
So that's like a basic metric of like your pronunciation is at least 60-70% correct if Google Translate can understand you. So it's like good speaking practice as well, because if you think about yourself as you're A2, so you're like a toddler, your level of Dutch is the same as a Dutch person who's maybe like 2 or 3 or 4 years old. So
probably 2 years old. Let's go 2 years.
One of those in that range.
Yeah.
So and if you think about like a little toddler when it's learning through its parents and its family, it's listening all the time, right? And it's not repeating everything. It's listening. And then its mum is saying, can you say carrot? And the kid kind of babbles out carrot, or I want spaghetti, paschetti, So that's where you are right now. So you're going to do lots and lots of listening and learning lots of new words and testing yourself to make sure you can remember them. And throughout it, if you can do as much like shadowing, repetition, or speaking into Google Translate if you're at home, then that's, again, you're just practicing these words. It's input, output. It's like lots of listening and speaking practice. And that just doing that day after day will just build in those habits, and that will become like so much more automatic for you to speak and just build your speaking skills and your listening skills and your confidence so much. But I don't do this if I quite often I'm doing this kind of thing on the tube in London or on the bus. I'm not going to speak into my microphone on the tube.
I could never. Me in London, I hate that place.
So then I'll type, yeah. Fair enough. All right, go back to the video. Let's keep going.
To the village market.
Perfect. Say it in Dutch.
Naar de dorpsmarkt.
Naar de dorpsmarkt. Yeah, correct. Continue.
Papa kocht voor Chintu.
Dad kocht. I don't know what that is actually.
Google Translate.
Yeah, Google Translate. Like this. Oh, cooks.
Try again. I think you've got a little spelling mistake.
Cheese. Oh, H.
Kocht. Yeah. Cool.
Oh, bought.
Oh, good. Yeah, press the speaker. Google Translate. Press the speaker. Listen again.
Kocht.
Repeat.
Kocht.
Kocht. Good. Perfect. Awesome. So again, just listen, repeat all day. It's just constant listening, repeating is going to just train that ability into you.
Yeah.
It's muscle memory. It's the same as your, what's the name of your sport? You do?
Motocross,
yeah. It's like you do, a specific jump that you need to practice. You just do it again and again and again and again. Muscle memory, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So just listen, repeat all day.
Sunglasses, a sunglass.
Yeah,
a pair
can you
of
say it in Dutch?
A zonnebril. Right.
Yeah.
Mum brought for me.
Kocht. Are you sure?
Mama kocht voor mij.
Yeah, kocht voor mij. What does kocht mean again?
Bought.
Good. So mum bought for me.
Blauw is blue. Helder. I don't know what helder is though.
Google Translate. Look it up.
Is it just a word on its own as well though? Or I need to put the whole helder?
Sometimes it might not be. You're correct. So sometimes you might have to check.
Oh, bright.
Yeah, helder.
Helder.
Helderblauwe. Pet.
Helder.
And remember what pet means?
Cap.
Cap, yeah. So mum bought
a bright blue cap.
A bright blue cap. Perfect. Cool. Continue.
Een helderblauwe pet. The
baby kreeg snoep.
Okay. Look it up if you're not sure.
Kreeg snoep. Yeah, I will search. Oh, candy.
Yep, listen, repeat.
Kreeg snoep.
Goed, yeah.
Kreeg snoep. Op weg naar huis.
I think, right, let's go back to the beginning. Start the story again. Cool. Watch it through. As you're watching, I want you to try and say the words with the video in Dutch and think about what they mean at the same time.
So just say the English version out loud?
No, say it in Dutch with the video.
Oh.
So imagine it's like you're trying to sing a pop song in time with the pop song.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So try and like say the words with the video, but think
Okay.
about what it means at the same time.
En
De
de
man en
pet.
de put.
Door
Door
Noni.
Noni. We gingen allemaal naar de doodsmaal. Papa kocht voor Chintu een zonnebril. Mama kocht voor mij een helder blauwe pet. De baby kreeg snoep.
Goed, pause. Perfect. That was really, really good. Awesome. Cool. And so you're able to think about the words, what they mean while you're saying it?
No, but I can tell you what it means, but not while I'm
at the same time.
concentrating.
Yeah. So that's again like it's going to be very difficult if you haven't done this before. You're kind of holding the meaning in your head at the same time you're saying and listening to the words and connecting those two.
Yeah.
But you'll get better at it as you, again, muscle memory. Okay, just go back and go through and pause it and translate it for me as you go. So
Okay.
check you know what it means again. Test.
De maan en de pet.
The moon and the cap.
Cool.
Door Noni.
By Noni.
Perfect, good.
Noni.
We gingen
We all went
Yeah, we went all.
to the village market.
bezorgd. Papa kocht voor Chintu
Dad brought for Chintu a sunglasses.
Sunglasses, yeah, that's how they say it. It's not plural in Dutch, it's a sunglass.
een zonnebril. Mama
Oh my gosh, Mum brought for me
kocht voor mij een helder
a bright blue cap.
blauwe pet. De baby kreeg snoep.
The baby got candy.
Correct. Awesome. That was good. That was really good because that was challenging. The memory had almost faded away and you brought it back and you strengthened it.
Yeah.
That's really what we want is as you're going through this, like work through and go back. And it should be a little bit challenging to try and remember it, but you remember it and you pull that memory back out. And that's what really widens that neural pathway and strengthens it so that you can remember it more long term.
Yeah.
All right, Talia, I think that's about our time for today. Can you go back
How do I see? I can see you now.
Cool. Are you watching my screen?
Yep.
Cool, awesome, right. Can you see, so you can see the document here?
Yep.
Awesome, great. So I'll send this to you as well. Let's see. So let's just recap everything. So your current goal is to get from about A2 to B1 to be able to have conversations.
Yeah.
We talked about the 4 skills, listening, reading, writing, speaking, and how like at the beginner stages, you want a heavy focus on listening, just like a baby or a toddler, and that turns into speaking, which turns into reading, writing. You've done quite a bit of reading, writing quite early on already, which is fine. That's good. So you've got probably like a little bit of a wider vocabulary in terms of reading compared to listening. So we want to, just you can carry on doing everything you're doing. If you're enjoying Duolingo, if you're enjoying talking to ChatGPT, by all means continue. But we do definitely need a heavy focus on listening because you will not be able to go into having conversations to be able to speak to people if you can't understand listening first. That's the first thing. Yeah, you have to understand people talking to you. You know, you keep going with these resources. This seems like it's probably about your level right now. I would say maybe let's add a goal. So I said 1 month heavy focus on listening comprehension, expanding oral vocabulary up to 2,500 words, passive vocabulary, so what you can understand. And I'll add maybe 4 goal of being able to understand, let's say 4 children's stories videos.
Okay, yeah.
If you're finding them boring, do something else. You can use anything that's on Netflix or Disney Plus or YouTube. But at the moment, you probably at the level of children's animated stuff. Once you get better, you can move into more difficult resources like TV, like live action TV shows. If you really, if you find like a Netflix program, like a live action Dutch Netflix program that you find really interesting, you really want, you can just like push yourself and just jump straight into doing a super difficult resource like that. I've done that before, but it depends how much you want to punish yourself. A lot of times when people find something boring, it's actually because it's too difficult. Because if you're doing something that's at your level, like the exercise that we were just doing, and you're understanding it and you're learning words at a good pace and you feel quite good about yourself and you have that feeling of like, when you finish this story, you'll have a nice little like delayed gratification, like satisfaction of, yes, I finished the story. I finished one whole story and then maybe I finished 2. And so let's say goal will be able to understand 4 children's stories. If you just go to this channel, it's called Bookbox. I'll write it down for you. They have a ton in Dutch actually, so you can choose which ones you want. And they have the subtitles built into the video, which is cool.
Yeah, that's good.
So they're perfect. Yeah, because sometimes YouTube subtitles can be a bit. So we'll say that. Goal will be able to send 4 children's stories, but please quit and do something else if you get bored.
I think what I'm going to try to do is like 1 a day because I can do that. That won't take too long.
Okay.
Because I work for myself as well, so I can kind of like fit in between what I'm doing.
Cool.
So I'm going to try and do one a day.
Cool.
And then do my Duolingo until it runs out, because I don't pay for that. I just do that for free as well. So once the energy thing runs out, I just stop.
Yeah, fair. Well, so if you roughly, like, if you're able to do 4 of those children's stories, after that, you can move on to something a bit more difficult.
Yep.
You'll notice a jump up in your ability quite quickly, because there's a lot. You're finding this is probably the right level for you right now, but you will be able to move up pretty quickly, I would say. Especially how much everything else you've done so far. Your progress is going to be quite quick because of the other stuff that you've done. Okay, so just set your rough goal of being able to understand 4 children's stories. After that, maybe you can check in with me and I can give you something else to do, or you can just keep going with this activity with more difficult resources.
Yep. Perfect.
So the main points being shadowing, constantly listen, repeat, listening comprehensions. You're working through your resource, look up words you don't know. Periodically go back and test yourself. Testing yourself is translating from Dutch to English and repeating the audio in Dutch. Can I understand it? Can I understand each word? Do I know what that word means? Test. Listen, repeat.
Perfect.
Test. Listen, repeat. Pretty simple stuff, to be honest.
Yeah.
Cool. After about 1 month, or when you have completed, say, 4 BookBox Dutch videos, check in with me and we'll have the next session. I can give you maybe some more like actual speaking, like conversation activities to do.
Yeah, perfect.
Cool. Is that all good for right now?
Yeah. Sounds perfect.
So that's
Thank you so
plenty for you
much.
to work with. I'll send you that document and I'll just add in also like links for Dutch YouTube channels, and I'll put in a couple of recommendations for like Dutch Netflix programs that I liked.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Yeah, so welcome. Okay, awesome. Thanks so much, Talia.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.
Yeah, let me know, get on any questions